Hello, it's Mrs. Trombley. It is time for lesson 8. So you need your next packet that you received with the next couple of lessons for this chapter. And it should say Math Unit 3, packet number 3 on the top. You need this and you need a pencil. And we're still with multiplication and division of fractions. And today we're going to look at dividing unit fractions by a whole number. Yesterday we looked at dividing whole numbers by unit fractions, right? And we saw that we could multiply the whole number by the denominator and get the result. We're going to be looking for some patterns today, but we will of course start with visual models because they really help you to understand, not just memorize a bunch of rules that go out the window when the chapter's done, right? I want you to have a good understanding. So hopefully that's enough time to get your stuff that you need. And we just have the front page of this. So we're only doing just this front side, lesson number 8. Remember, whatever I write, you should write when we do our notes. And if you ever have questions, you can either send them to me through the Schoology message, or you can just take a little sticky note, write your question, and pop it on this notes packet. And then when I see you next, you can ask me your questions. So here's our first one. And again, it's dividing a unit fraction by a whole number. So that means we're starting with the unit fraction, and unit fractions have 1 as a numerator. So if I want to divide 1/3 by 5, I have to start out and I need to represent my 1/3, right? So how can we represent 1/3? Well, let's draw a nice big rectangle. And 1/3 of this rectangle would be this piece here, right? So here's 1/3. I want to take this 1/3 and divide it by 5. So that means I'm going to split this 1/3 up into how many pieces? 5. So I'm going to draw 4 lines in here. And if we were sharing 1/3 between 5 people, that's kind of what this is saying. So let's say this is a big Little Caesars breadstick, and there's only one left, okay? Actually, there's only 1/3 of it left. That's so sad. So if you have just 1/3 of it left and you have to share it between 5 people, you would take that little third of a breadstick, you would cut it up into 5 little pieces, and wouldn't each person get that? Each person would get 1 little piece, right? And you might be thinking, okay, well, the answer then is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1/5. But fractions tell us what part of the whole, right? This 1/3 wasn't the whole thing. The whole breadstick is this whole thing here. So I have to figure out how much of the whole this 1 little piece is worth, right? So 1 what? I know I have 1. We have to figure out 1 what? Well, you know how we divided this piece up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections? If we divide each piece up into 5 sections, then we have it cut up into all equal parts and we can figure out 1 what? Because doesn't the denominator tell us how many equal parts the whole is broken up into? Yeah. So if we have 5 sections here, that would mean I'd need another 5 sections here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And another 5 sections here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I drew 4 lines to make 5 sections. So now we can see that each person would get 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Maybe you looked at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then you're like, okay, well then this is another 5 and this is another 5. So 5, 5, 5, 1/15. So 1/3 divided by 5 is 1/15, because if I split 1/3 of a breadstick between 5 people, each person would get that little teeny tiny amount, but it's out of 15 because the whole is broken up into 15. All right, let's try another one. I have 1/4 divided by 3. So the first thing we're gonna do, let's draw 1/4. So I'm gonna stick with my rectangles because it's so much easier for me than circles. I don't know why, it just is. And I want to take 1/4 of this. So I'm gonna do it like this. As long as you're cutting it up into 4 equal pieces, you're fine. And 1/4 would be this, right? So here's 1/4. So this is 1/4 of a candy bar, right? Sure, a nice blue candy bar. And I want to share that with 3 people. So that means I want to take this 1/4 of the whole and I want to share it between 3. So I'm going to draw my lines this way this time. Why not? Because I can, as long as there's 3 equal pieces. So if I divided this 1/4 and I'm sharing it with 3 people, each person would get 1 chunk here, right? But I can't say my answer is 1/3 because the whole is not broken up into 3 equal pieces. I know my numerator is going to be 1 because each person's going to get 1 little piece, but 1 what? So we have to see, okay, how can I make all these pieces the same? Well, if this was broken up into 3 pieces, then break all the rest of them up into 3 pieces as well. And now we can see it's 1 out of 3, 6, 9, 12. So each person would get 1/12 of the whole candy bar. So that is what 1/4 divided by 3 would look like. In our last visual model, we have 1/5 divided by 4. So yes, let's draw our 1/5. And I'm going to draw 4 lines so I can make 5 sections. Do your best to make them each section the same size. And 1/5 of this would just be this 1 piece, right? So let's say we have 1/5 of a Laffy Taffy. I know those are pretty little, but of 1/5 of a Laffy Taffy left over, and we want to share that between 4 people. So that means I would have to take this little 1/5 of a Laffy Taffy and cut it up into 4 pieces, right? Into 4 equal pieces. So here's my 1/5, and I would go 1, 2, 3. And so if I was sharing this between the 4 people, wouldn't each person get 1 of those? But they're not getting 1/4 of the Laffy Taffy. They're getting 1. You know how we cut this up into 4? We need to cut all the rest of these up into 4 as well, so we can see how many equal pieces the whole is broken up into. And it looks like the whole is broken up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20. So 1/5 divided by 4 would give us 1/20 because each person would get 1/20 of the whole. So if we take a look at what we just did, we just had the problems. 1/3 divided by 5 and we got 1/15. And 1/4 divided by 3 gave us 1/12. And 1/5 divided by 4 gave us 1/20. I think I'm going to write that. You don't have to write this, but I'm going to write it here so that we can see them all at one time. So give me one little second just to write this down. 1/4 divided by 3 is 1/12. And again, you don't have to write this part because you can see your whole paper at once. But with mine, if I back away too much, then it's hard to see the rest of everything because it's too teeny tiny. So these are the equations we just did, right? I ask you here, or I say, we can conclude that. So based on these patterns, what conclusions can we draw? And it says 1 divided by D, sorry, or 1 over D, it's like a division problem, divided by W equals what times what? So we're looking for this multiplication equation, just like we did with the rest. Like what multiplication equation could we use to solve this instead of drawing the pictures? We can always draw the picture. If we get stuck on a problem, we can always go back and draw that visual model instead of memorizing that rule. But I do want to know what we see. So when I look at this, I notice that every single numerator, when I'm taking a unit fraction divided by a whole number, is 1. I notice that. And now, I want you to kind of notice how we'd get our denominator. What can you do with 3 and 5 to get 15? With 4 and 3 to get 12? And with 5 and 4 to get 20? If you said multiply them, you're correct. That's right. So basically, if you see that you are dividing a unit fraction by a whole number, you can take your unit fraction and what would I do with 1/3 to get 1/15? I need to multiply the 3 and the 5, right? So that would mean that I would keep this 1 over D, but if I wanted to multiply the 3 and the 5, wouldn't the 5 need to be in the denominator spot? Yeah. So I would take that number I'm dividing by and put it in the denominator spot, and what do I need to multiply 1 by to get 1? 1. So if you are multiplying a unit fraction by a whole number, you can get your answer simply by multiplying the unit fraction you start with, by the whole number with a 1 above it. It's actually, you're multiplying it by the reciprocal, but we'll throw that word out a little bit later. So the answer to this would give me 1 over d times w, which is what happened in all of these. 1/3 divided by 5 is the same as, let's go back up here. So go back up here, I do want you to write this. 1/3 divided by 5 is the same as 1/3 times 1/15. Sorry, not 1/15, 1/5. So erase that. I don't have my little whiteout pen with me. So I get 1/15. For the second one, I do want you to write this. 1/4 divided by 3, I can get the same result by taking 1/4 times 1 over that 3. That would give me the 1/12 that I just got. And 1/5 divided by 4 would give me, I would get the same result by taking 1/5 times 1/4, which does give me 1/20. So if you notice, hey, I am dividing a unit fraction by a whole number, you can simply multiply that unit fraction by 1 over the whole number to get your result. And we're never changing what we start with, are we? Division and subtraction are kind of like that. They're similar in that. We don't change what we start with. In addition to multiplication are the same in the fact that we can switch the order up all we want, but we can't do that with division or subtraction. So let's try a couple of these. Let's try to apply this little generalization, this rule that we just learned. 1/2 divided by 3. And you can picture this, right? We can picture taking this shape and we take half of it. And if I'm going to divide it by 3, that would mean I need to cut this up into 3 pieces. I'm going to know how much one of those pieces is, so I would draw this in. And I see that it is 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Yes, I do want you to draw this picture. Draw the picture, cut it in half, and if I want to divide half by 3, that would need to have 3 pieces. Each person would get this one little piece, and how much of the whole is this one little piece? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 1/6. So we know our result is 1/6. We could also get that by taking 1/2 times 1/3. Because 1 times 1 is 1, and 2 times 3 is 6. So this stuff really works. All right, for letter E, 1/5 divided by 2. So that would mean, I'm not going to draw this one out, but I would take one whole, cut it up into 5 pieces, and then I would take those 5 pieces and cut those in half. And what would I have as a result? I'd end up with 1/5 times 1 over 2. I take this number and I'm just putting a 1 over it. It's called the reciprocal of it. So 1 times 1 is 1, and 5 times 2 is 10. So if I had 1/5 divided by 2, 1/5 of something, and I wanted to share it between 2 people, each person would get 1/10 of the whole. All right, for letter F, 1/3 divided by 4, I can get the same result by taking 1/3 times 1/4, which would give me 1/12. 1 times 1 is 1, 3 times 4 is 12. And our last one, 1/6 divided by 4. If I had 1/6 of the whole amount and I divided that up into 4 pieces, then each person would get 1/6 times 1/4. And 1 times 1 is 1, and 6 times 4 is 24. So that is how we can divide unit fractions by a whole number. You're all set with your notes. Thanks for watching.